Hey there, Danny here. Welcome to my ramblings. I was gonna do a video last night, but I ended up not doing it. Monday, I got out of work early, and so did I yesterday. Um, so I didn't know this. All the research that I've done, all the reading that I've done, all the other people that I watch and stuff about finding your true authentic self and leveling your energy up. Um, I found out that when you live in a peaceful, happy state majority of the time, it's a great place to be. Like I've said several times in several videos, it's heaven on earth. The problem comes down to when something sends you down that rabbit hole and you start to get irritated and frustrated and easily angered. You're shocked. You're utterly shocked because you're able to keep control of things and you're in control of your action. But when something crazy happens and it's unexpected, you it hits you harder than it would normally because you're used to that happy, peaceful state and you know how to stay there. And usually things that happen, you're like, whatever, I dealt with it, I moved on. I don't know what was going on out in the world yesterday, but the driving sucked. I can't tell you how many crappy drivers, how many accidents I almost had. Thank God that I pay attention. And I swear to God, the app was just screwing up left and right. I'd have 2 orders in my car, and it would try to send me a third order, which is fine. I would have taken the third order, but when I tried to accept it, all of a sudden I couldn't get any of my orders up. So I've got 2 different people's foods orders in my car, and they're in hot bags, so they're going to stay warm, but I got no means of getting to their house because I can't get into the app. It's frozen and it's just spinning, and I can't get an address to get to where I need to go. And nothing I was doing was fixing the problem. And it just took me down this like really crazy rabbit hole. And I'm like, that's it. I'm going home. I'm done. I'm not dealing with the world right now. And I was going to do a video last night, but as I got to thinking about it, I'm like, no, because I don't even know what I talk about. I don't want my negativity and me going down this rabbit hole coming out on the video and not making a lot of sense. So instead, I did some more reading and some more research and discovered that this is pretty normal. That when you get triggered by something that is beyond your control and you travel down that rabbit hole, that you're a little bit more tougher on yourself because you're like, what the hell's wrong? I know how to take care of this stuff. I know how to stay in a happy, peaceful state. I've been doing it for how long now? What the hell? And you go down that rabbit hole of beating yourself up like, what the fuck's wrong with me? The truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. It's normal. I'm going to work on that. That was a first for me. From everything that I've read and I've researched, says that it's normal and that it will get less and less as I learn to keep growing in this happiness and this peace. But yeah, that rabbit hole, I flew down that thing really quick yesterday. And today went better. And the weirdest part was I woke up yesterday morning and got ready and went to work, and I was completely happy. I was smiling. I was dancing in the car. It was a great day until all of a sudden it wasn't. And then I was like, what the hell is wrong? Why am I not staying able to maintain my happy peace? What the hell? And then I discovered. So just so you know that this is a possibility. I rewatched some of the videos the other night, the previous ones that I've made. And I'm going to, and I realized that my videos aren't covering the screen of the computers. So I have downloaded an app that hopefully I will fix that problem. Just bear with me because I'm learning as I go. And I'm the one that always jokes with everybody that I'm technologically challenged. I do have my sons and their friends that are more than willing to help me out with all of it. So it's not a big deal. But I noticed that the video that had the most views was the cheaters, please learn to love yourself. And it got me to thinking that we live in a society, and we have for a long time. I mean, if you think back, okay, so, I mean, women didn't get rights until when? Sometime in the 70s? I mean, Roe v. Wade, all of that. So, if you think back and you really look at history, our grandmothers had no choice but to stay with abusive alcoholic men. They had to survive. They had bigger families, a lot more kids. There weren't choices. They didn't have options. And yeah, that screwed up my parents' generation. Some of them turned out pretty good and got beyond it. Some of them carried it throughout their life. With all of that said, it got me to thinking that we have, if you look at television and advertising and everything from, since we got TV and whatever else, there were certain things that they didn't do because it just wasn't proper, it wasn't appropriate. But the farther that we've gotten away from God in this country specifically, we kind of have turned it into a kind of a free-for-all that cheaters kind of get away with it because they think they can. Everybody else is doing it that they know. Well, yeah, they are not surrounding themselves with decent, good people. Decent, good people wouldn't be doing that on a regular basis. They wouldn't want to hurt somebody they loved. So it got me to thinking that maybe, just maybe, if there was enough of us out here that were like, no, you're a cheater, we're done, by eventually, if everybody could get on board with that, the cheaters would be lonely and would only be able to have each other. That's not a likely scenario, but it would be great, wouldn't it? So I really would like to discuss some of the stuff that that the people who are cheated on go through. I know for a fact that you go through comparing yourself to those people, and majority of the time the people that they're having an affair with are nothing to look at. And you question what's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. It's wrong with them. You're just in the line of fire. I can tell you that the hardest part for me when I went through all of it was it was really being made to feel like I was stupid. The second husband cheated at work, and we worked together at a couple of places, and he had affairs right under my nose. I had no clue. I would find out years after the fact that the co-workers that worked by him, but not over in my area, they were all always very nice to me. And he hated that I'd talk to any of them. I don't know why you like that person or why you like that person. They're just a jerk. They're an asshole. And I'm like, well, they're not to me. I'm not going to hate them just because you hate them. And it never clicked. But years later, I would run into one of them. And I would tell him, he would ask about this, Sean and I were together or whatever, and I'd say no. And then I'd explain the situation. And he said, yeah, we all knew. And I looked at him, I looked at him totally horrified. And I said, why didn't anybody tell me? He goes, we didn't want to hurt you. But you do understand that you did hurt me, though. Now I'm left thinking, I don't know if you were my friend because you liked me, or if you were my friend because you pitied me and what I didn't know. So from then on, I vowed I'm not keeping those types of secrets anymore for nobody. That's not fair. But you're not stupid. You're not stupid. It has nothing to do with you. You're the one in the relationship that is true and loving. You don't hurt the people you love. Love is not pain. Our society believes that it is. I mean, look at movies and everything else that goes on out there. People tend to believe that love is pain. Love is not pain. Love is not pain at all. Hate, anger, all your negative stuff is pain. But love is not pain. Love is not pain in any way, shape, or form. And I think the hardest pill for the non-cheater to swallow is knowing that their significant other couldn't have truly loved them, because you never want to hurt somebody you love. Never. And I think that's the hardest pill for the non-cheater to swallow. But I want all of you non-cheaters to know that you are loved, that if you ever need to talk, cry, vent, or just not be alone, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. I've been there. I know what it feels like. I made it through pretty decent and pretty quickly, but I had a ton of support. And my biggest goal was I didn't want to become a bitter man-hater. My mother was. I didn't want to do that. So I really struggled in the beginning with it. But it's not your fault. You had nothing to do with it. You're not why they do it. It's not because you're not satisfying them. It's literally because they are selfish and they don't love themselves. Your best bet is more than likely to just walk away. But I understand if you don't, because I stuck around after finding out about it. Biggest regret of my life was sticking around. I should have just walked. But there was a lot of time that was put into that relationship. A lot of time and effort on my part, and I didn't want to just throw the marriage away. But you don't have a choice. Not at all. I didn't really have a say, because he disappeared one night and I woke up in the morning, he was gone. But that was the best gift he ever gave me. In my whole life, that was the best gift my second ex-husband could have ever given me, was disappearing and walking away. Because I would not be where I'm at right now. I would still be making sacrifices for somebody who didn't truly love me, and for somebody who didn't love themselves enough to love me. They didn't care about anything. He didn't care about anything but himself. And the truth is him walking away and setting me free. Yeah, it was hard in the beginning, but I wouldn't be here doing the things that I'm doing if I had been with him and stayed with him. So he did me a great solid with doing that. I can also tell you, I mean, this kind of sounds weird, but when my mother passed, when she was sick and I was taking care of her and she passed, there was this weird thing inside of me that I was thankful that I wasn't with anybody. I was single. Because I really didn't have the strength or the energy to have to take care of a relationship. And now when I look back at it, I know that if I had a loving, um, um, decent relationship, that it wouldn't have been hard during that time because that person would have stepped up. But I didn't have that. And at the time, that's all I thought. It wasn't until a lot of my stuff with this loving myself really really came about pretty quickly, and it was after my mom passed. And I think part of it was because her passing and the heartbreak and the pain that I felt from it kind of really put things into perspective for me about basically about the other heartbreaks of any of my exes were nothing compared to that heartbreak. So having that put into perspective, it really made me look back over my whole life, and not just people that I dated or were married to, but friends, family, everything. And if you know my mother's side of the family, they don't get along. There was 8 kids. They don't get along. They can, but they don't. Majority of the time, there's bickering and fighting when you put them together for a wedding or a funeral or anything like that. But the one thing I will say about my mother's family, the one thing that I will say that makes them one hell of a family, is if something happens to a family member, like when my mom got sick, or when my uncle was diagnosed with prostate cancer or anything like that, this family bands together. Doesn't matter what they're doing. You need money, there's money flowing. You need somebody to give you a break so you can so you can go do what you got to do, and that they can take them to the doctor, they can do what. This family comes together when it's necessary. The rest of the time, we don't get along very well, but that's okay. But I think that put into perspective for me that it wasn't anything to do with me. That's how I came to that conclusion. It had nothing to do with me. They didn't love themselves. And the more I learned to love myself, and the more I learned to enjoy my peace, the more I started to realize that it was never love. You can't give something that you don't have. So I just want the people who have been through that pain to know that you're not alone. You're not stupid. And they couldn't give you something they didn't have. But that doesn't make what you had and what you experienced any less. You were real. You gave the love that you had. And that's why you got so broken. That's exactly why you got so broken. Because love shouldn't be pain. It shouldn't hurt. So, with that said, as I keep going on this, getting to my true authentic self, and on this journey, and as you guys come along and we build our soul tribe, I'll keep you posted on some of the things. I'm thinking now that I know that that was a normal state, I'm thinking that if it happens again, that I may just do a video that night, just so you have an idea of how it hits you, because it hit pretty hard. I mean, Monday there were a few issues, but not enough. Tuesday, just I was down that rabbit hole, and there was nothing I was going to do about it. But just know that you are loved. You are not alone. Um, Anytime you need somebody to talk to, cry, vent, or just not be alone, I'm always here. I'm always available. I do DoorDash. So I can completely talk on the phone while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Um, so hit me up if you need somebody. I know I've been there. It was devastating at the time. Now, after the pain with my mother, nothing bothers me anymore. None of that type of stuff even affects me because none of it was true heartache. It was not anything like when I lost my mother. And there are still days that I have bad days with my mom. You don't know when it's going to pop up or why it's going to pop up. I had been feeling it probably for the last few days or so. But then I realized that March 10th is coming up. And March 10th is the day that my mother called me to tell me that I had to come back home and take care of her because she was getting to the end. So, with that said, know that you are loved. I'm here if you need anything. And bear with me as I'm learning all this new technology stuff. And if you got any ideas, go ahead. Feel free to, throw them at me because I'm open. Night, guys.